So initial setup, we went through and changed the size settings. So now I'm in manual mode, just like the machine started up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my bale shape, size, pressures, that kind of thing. In order to do that, we start by hitting the menu key, and of the 4 icons you see, the picture is a picture of a bale. In that setting, you're going to set your bale settings for your presets. So the way the McHale monitor works is anytime you see an icon that's flashing, that icon is available to be changed. Right now, the A is flashing. So if I change that A to a B, C, D, E, using these soft keys, it will change the active preset. So I can change that, and it changes through those settings and then scrolls back around. Remember, there are no save buttons, so whichever setting I leave active is the one that we'll be using at that time. The next setting that flashes is your core size. The core size is now in inches, and we never want our core size below about 35.5 inches. So in order to change that core size, I can add with the plus button or the minus button all the way down to 35.5 inches, which is the minimum. You would want to change that, make that larger. If you're having trouble with a particular crop, particular moisture, and you're wanting to make it a little bit easier for the crop to spin the bale, you can increase that setting. You never want that setting larger than the outside setting, and you never want it below 35.5. The new software won't allow you to. Some of the older software versions on previous machines, you can. So, but 35.5 inches is the new minimum. Your bale size. Bale size is adjustable from 3 roughly, and go down to a minimum. I can actually go below 35.5 inch bale size. You're never going to want your outer bale size to be less than the core. So for a 4-foot bale, you're going to be at 48 inches. And for a 5-foot bale, you're going to be up around 60 inches. So it will go to 59 3/4. The baler is capable of up to a 5.5-foot bale. The next setting when I scroll is our core pressures. You can see the baler comes from the factory with a core pressure of 9 and an outer bale pressure of 10. Typically, I bring our core pressures down when the baler is new and we're getting started. I generally bring it down to around the 5 range. I'll scroll over, bring my outer pressures down to around 7. Any pressure is okay. Just remember your core has to be a smaller pressure than your outer. And you will need to change that based on your crops, whether it be the type of crop or the conditions you're in or the moisture. So now I'm making these changes in preset A. The next setting that we have is the amount of net wrap. The amount of net wrap, it's showing from the factory at 3.5 wraps. That number is an estimate. It changes based on bale size. So if you put 3.5 and you make a larger bale, the baler knows it needs to add more length in order to get that desired number of wraps. But I always recommend that after you've made a bale or two, you go and check to see exactly how much is on the bale, because this is just a reference number. If you're only getting 3, you've got the baler set at 3.5, and you're getting a 3 actual on the bale, you can adjust this number up to get the 3.5 that you're desiring, or down based on what the baler is doing at the time. So you always want to check just to make sure that the baler is doing what you're wanting it to do. And then on the 2018 balers, they have adjustable net stretch, so you can adjust the amount of net stretch on the bale, on the net. And typically, this baler from the factory, the net stretch was set at 8. I typically run that down to a much lower number when the baler is new, at least until it's broke in and I see what's happening with the bale, and then I'll increase that to the stretch that I like to see after I know the machine's working properly and the net looks the way I want it to on the bale. And then when I escape from this, and I escape one more time, I go back to the main screen. Those settings that I changed are now changed in the operating screen. I'm still on setting A. So if I want to see the difference, if I go back into our monitor screen, hit the bale settings, and I change this to B, and when I go back out now, those B settings are active. That's the basics for changing the bale settings for each preset. You change them under each preset and they're there. So